this week. I'm going to get right to the thing on everyone's mind, the NDAA. Thanks to the work of many, especially Chairman Reid, yesterday we adopted two important amendments to the NDAA, adding to the Senate's work on outcompeting the Chinese government. Both amendments passed overwhelmingly with 91 votes each. It's not often you see 91 senators unite on any single measure, let alone two that are important. But to us, uniting on outcompeting the Chinese government was an important demonstration that this issue remains broadly bipartisan. This morning we'll hold another vote on an amendment by Senator Warnock and Budd, halting the harassment of our service members by debt collectors. I hope this has support. And let's not forget, last week we ordered a very tough fend-off fentanyl bill, which really will go after the Chinese and Mexican governments that supply the chemicals that go into making fentanyl. It's going to make a huge help, giving the President emergency powers. We also put some important pieces on AI in that legislation, and those are the beginning steps, and some stuff on competing with the Chinese government. So this is a robust bill that has lots of good things in it already. Last night, did I mention Senator Warnock? They're going to hold another amendment vote on Warnock and Budd, halting the harassment of service members by debt collectors. I hope this will enjoy broad support as well. Last night we sent out a hotline with a number of additional amendments, and I'm hopeful we can lock in an agreement soon and begin voting on some of them. Since last Wednesday, the Senate's voted on 8 amendments here on the floor, adopted 7 more by voice vote. This is what people want, a real amendment process. That's what's happening, and I'm glad to say it's happening on a bipartisan basis. Finally, I will also keep working with Chair Reid, Member Wicker, Senator Shaheen, and many others on a second manager's package that will have more accomplishments both sides can embrace, and I appreciate the cooperation and good faith of my colleagues from both sides of the aisle. The NDAA process in this chamber is a welcome departure from the chaotic, contentious, partisan, and often nasty race to the bottom we saw in the House. We wish to finish the NDAA as soon as we can. There's no reason for delay. Also, the anniversary of one of our largest accomplishments last Congress is approaching, the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, one of the most defining legislative feats of the 21st century, one of the most important pieces of legislation that we've passed in 40 years, and the most important piece of legislation we've ever passed on climate change. Since the IRA became law, it's delivered on its promises. Inflation has gone down. It's about half of what it was at its peak. Medicare can negotiate the price of prescription drugs. Those prices are falling. And for seniors, insulin is capped and vaccines are free. On top of all these savings, we said the IRA would kickstart the era of affordable clean energy, countless good-paying green jobs, and that's what's happening. Thousands and thousands of jobs in so many parts of the country. And these are jobs of the future. When your son or daughter gets a job in one of these new industries, you say it's going to have a great future and even my grandkids can work in there. It's a big change in America. We're restructuring, in some real ways, the American economy to have a bright future with more jobs, more good-paying jobs, and, of course, reducing the amount of carbon that goes into our atmosphere. So we're very excited about the IRA. It's delivered. It's going to continue to deliver. And let me call on Senator Reid.
Well, thank you very much, Senator Schumer. The NDAA is critical to our national defense and to our military readiness. And we continue to make real progress with an open process that has added amendments from both sides. The result is a bipartisan NDAA that includes an historic 5.2% pay raise for our troops and defense civilians. It addresses the long-term, multidimensional challenges posed by China, Russia, and other adversaries, and it's a priority of both parties. I want to commend Chairman Tester for leading the bipartisan effort to protect American farmland and food security from foreign adversaries. He and Senator Rounds work together, and again, we are open to good ideas from all sides. The bottom line is Congress has a constitutional duty to provide for the common defense. In order for our troops to achieve their missions, Congress must fulfill its obligation to pass a responsible NDAA. Thanks in large part to Leader Schumer and my colleagues on SAS, including Senator Shaheen, we've got an NDAA here that makes our country safer and stronger. We're laser focused on policies and platforms that will prepare our troops to win real wars, not partisan cultural wars. But one major obstacle remains. The senator from Alabama is blocking military promotions and harming military families. Senator Tuberville and his Republican backers are suppressing the promotions and pay of honorable servicemen and women who have nothing to do with the policy at hand. They seem to think it helps them score political points with the MAGA crowd, even though it hurts real people. The senator from Alabama should end this outrageous blockade immediately. He should not skip town and leave hardworking military men and women hung out to dry, their promotions in limbo, their families unable to move to the next duty station, and their kids unable to start new schools. That is why I will be going to the Senate floor tonight with colleagues to discuss each and every one of the military nominees who are being blocked. My colleagues and I will speak for several hours about the accomplishments and qualifications of these officers. We will also discuss the painful costs that these holds are inflicting on their families. The Republicans should immediately end their months-long partisan blockade of merit-based military promotions. Our troops deserve better, and the American people deserve better also. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Reid and Senator Schumer. I'm pleased to be here to support the NDAA. This is a bipartisan bill that came out of the committee with a strong bipartisan vote, thanks to the leadership of Senator Reid and Senator Wicker. I'm pleased that we're seeing that bipartisanship continue as we look at amendments on the Senate floor. It's a bill that invests in our defense and national security priorities, and for me as a senator from New Hampshire, it invests significantly in the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, in our P's 157th Air Refueling Wing, in the KC-46 tanker, in priorities that we have in New Hampshire that are critical, including our defense industrial base. So I think it's important for us to pass this bill for those two reasons, but most important, after 6 decades, it's critical that we pass this legislation because it sends a message again, both to our allies, to our adversaries, and to our constituents, that Congress can work together, that the Senate can work across the aisle in a bipartisan way to get things done that are in the interests of the United States and our constituents. And for that reason, we are going to pass this bill this week and send it on to the House, and hopefully the House will take it up, drop some of their extreme positions, and we will get a bill that can benefit the American people. Thank you.
Thanks, Gene. Yes, sir. I saw you reposition yourself.
I did. You had all worried that Hunter Biden and the controversies and the cases around Hunter Biden are going to be a liability for President Biden's reelection.
You know, the bottom line is this is a prosecution being done in a fair way by a former Trump prosecutor, and I have faith in the results. Yes?
Thank you, Leader Schumer. What was your reaction to the Hunter Biden plea deal falling apart?
Again, I think I have faith in the prosecution, and it was a Trump prosecutor who was appointed, and no one should interfere with this politically, ideologically, and let justice go forward. Yes?
Mr. Mayor, are you concerned at all about more pen and no labels collaborating to undermine Democrats in next year's election?
Joe Biden is going to be a really strong candidate, and he's going to win. Yes?
I don't know if you saw right before you came to the podium that Leader McConnell stopped talking abruptly to his office. He says he's fine, but any concerns about his health? Noticed anything?
I always wish Leader McConnell well. Yes?
With the appropriations process, we hear from a lot of Democrats calling Republicans' spending cut proposals draconian.
In the House, you're talking about. Let's not. The House and the Senate are worlds apart when it comes to the appropriations process.
But one thing the House Republicans want to do is return those levels in 2019, non-discretionary, non-defense levels. What's wrong with that number?
The bottom line is, I think that we had an agreement when it came to default. All four parties agreed, and within a week, House Republicans abandoned that agreement. The way to make this work is do it in a bipartisan way, like we are doing in the Senate. If you do it in a partisan way, you're heading to a shutdown. And I am really worried that that's where the House Republicans are headed. Yes?
What's your reaction to Speaker McCarthy showing support for an impeachment inquiry into the President and the House, and how will voters react?
It's absurd. Yes?
What's next on Congress action on climate change a year after the IRA is passed?
Well, there are lots of things we're trying to do administratively. You've probably read about some in FERC, where we're working to get a number of good things done. It's very hard with a House that passed an H.R. 1, which is so anti-environmental, to get things done, but we're going to look at every aspect where we can succeed to get things done environmentally in the Senate. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.